A couple of weeks ago, I did a video all about how to price your quilts, whether you're making quilts for family members, friends, or actual customers, whether you're selling online or in person. We kind of went over that entire overview. If you missed that video, I will link that up in the cards and also down in the description box if you'd like to watch that. But this video is going to focus mostly on selling online. This is something, again, that's really not talked about, especially in the quilting community. And I don't really know why, because there are a lot of quilters that want to sell their quilts or that do sell their quilts online, but everything's so hush hush. Now that I'm online talking about quilting and stuff, I feel like maybe I should talk about my experience selling online. So let's jump right into it. My name is Miriam. Welcome back to my channel if you've never been here. I talk about all kinds of quilting things. I do all kinds of tutorials and chit chats and all kinds of stuff here. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of today's video, I do want to announce real quick, I am going to be doing a Zoom call in about a month. It's a little ways out, but I'm going to be doing a Zoom call all about selling handmade items. So if you would like to join the wait list for that Zoom call, there is a link down in the description box below. Later on at the end of the video, I'm going to go into more detail about that call, but I just wanted to mention that here real quick, okay? All right, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of today's video. Today, we're going to talk all about selling quilts or other handmade items online. I've made other things, not just quilts. I've done tote bags, baby clothes, stockings, all kinds of things. So I'll give a brief overview of my experience so you know I'm not just someone on here giving advice when I haven't actually done the stuff that I'm giving advice on, which is something that's just like kind of a pet peeve of mine when there's people giving advice on whatever, but then they have no personal experience to back it up. I had an Etsy shop for about 5 years. I was making mostly custom quilts for people. I sold dozens of quilts. Some of them were through Etsy. Some of them were not on Etsy. And we'll talk about that a little later on. I worked one-on-one with these customers to figure out what kind of quilts they wanted. When I was selling quilts, I made it a very personal experience for the customer as well. They got to help pick out fabrics and patterns and quilt designs, like everything they helped with if they wanted to. If they didn't, if they just kind of said, they sent me a picture, they're like, I want this, but in this color palette. And it's like, okay, and I'll do that. And so I kind of left it up to them to see how involved they wanted to be. That was my experience. I mostly sold quilts on Etsy. I attempted selling on eBay, on Mercari. I think those were the only two other places I attempted selling, and those weren't great options, and I'll go over why later on in the next point. But that's kind of my experience. I was doing that for 5 years, and it was steady. Every month I had quilts I was making, right? Also in this video, we're going to go over the good, bad, and ugly of using Etsy. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to throw that out there that I have actually done this. I've been in your shoes. I know what it's like, you know, making something beautiful and wonderful and handmade that you want to sell and you want to make a fair amount on. You know, you don't want to undersell, undervalue your work. First, let's talk about some of the options of where you can sell. So if you're brand new to thinking about selling something online and you're just trying to figure out where's the best place to sell, there are several options for you. Probably the most well-known is Etsy, right? Everybody knows about Etsy. When you think handmade items, you think Etsy, right? So there is that. There's also, you know, you could try eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Mercari. Could try Craigslist. I have seen quilts listed on Craigslist before, but I really wonder if those ever get moved, if they ever get sold, you know. So I know Facebook Marketplace could potentially be a good place to sell. Usually when people are on Facebook Marketplace, they're looking for a deal on something. So I would venture to say it would be a little hard to get a fair price on a quilt there. Other alternatives to Etsy, I know a lot of people ask about that and they want to know like, well, are there other marketplaces like Etsy, but not Etsy? Because for whatever reason people have, they have beef with Etsy. They don't like it. They don't like their listing fees. They don't like some of their policies. Sometimes, you know, it's a little scary. Sometimes Etsy will take down a shop and that's it. They have the power to do that because it's their marketplace. They have control over that. There is that possibility. So there are a few other sites similar to Etsy, I guess, but you are not going to get the reach that you would on Etsy on these other sites. I know Amazon has their own version called Amazon Handmade. So that's an option. I remember looking at that, but if I remember correctly, it was like a monthly fee that you had to pay. And then on top of that, I think you have to pay like listing fees or transaction fees or something. I don't know what it is now. I'm not going to give specifics on listing fees, transaction fees, and things like that because these sites tend to change those every 6 months or so, it seems like. At least once a year, they're changing their fees or some sort of policy. I won't be giving specifics, so this will be an evergreen video that whoever, if someone finds this 5 years down the road, hopefully the information is still valid for them. So there's Amazon Handmade. Michaels just came out pretty recently, I think, with their own handmade marketplace called, let me check, Maker Place. So that's really interesting. I haven't done a lot of looking into that. I actually just learned about that this morning when I was doing research for this video. And I'm very intrigued with that because you can sell handmade items on there. You can sell like tickets to like an online class. And then I think you can also become a part of like their affiliate program and make affiliate income from products, if I remember correctly. So there's like 3 different ways that you can make money through Maker Place. So I'm really intrigued with that. I might look into that. Not sure if they have much sewing and quilting items and content on there right now. Anyway, so that's an option. So that's Maker Place by Michaels. There is also a new site that I recently learned about from Stella Moore. I do believe that's her name. She does a lot of Etsy content on YouTube. She's very, very well versed in everything about Etsy. She's an Etsy seller. She's an Etsy coach. She just knows a lot about Etsy. And she actually brought up this new site called GoImagine. And this website is trying to create something like Etsy, but without the junk. If you've ever shopped on Etsy, you know what I mean. Etsy used to be only handmade items. And if you looked up handmade jewelry, that's what you would find. But now, unfortunately, there's a lot of drop shippers and people, you know, buying bulk handmade jewelry. I think jewelry is a huge one. Jewelry from like AliExpress and then selling it as if it's handmade, and it's not handmade, at least not by the person that's selling it. You know, they're buying stuff for 25 cents and then selling it for $30. And you know, that's a smart business move, but it's kind of questionable for those of us who are actually making handmade items, right? And it kind of taints the entire waters of Etsy, because then you're like, well, what's the point of trying to list stuff there, because you can't compete with these lower prices of these drop shipped items. I know that's been kind of a big debate about Etsy recently. They're allowing listings that are obviously not handmade to be listed on there, and I'm really hoping that the powers that be at Etsy, you know, at some point kind of start locking down on those shops and closing those shops down. But I don't know. I don't know if they will, because they are in the business of making money, and they're making money off of those sales that people are making with those drop shipped items. So it's an interesting topic, and I'm sure many people have many opinions, and that's okay. But I will say Etsy still is the top site for these kinds of things. As I was saying, GoImagine is For handmade items, I think when you apply, there's actually an application process. So you're proving that you're actually making these items and things like that. And I did a quick little search on the site, and it seems legit and really nice. And it's so nice to see actual handmade items, when you know that these people have taken their time to make it, take nice pictures and all that stuff. So I have high hopes for GoImagine. I'm really hoping that it picks up. People start shopping there and selling there. And I think it could really be a great company. I will link GoImagine down in the description box below as well, because I just think it's great. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. I just personally think it's a really great idea. And I like that there's going to be possibly a competitor for Etsy. I'm all about competition for companies like that and options for people that want to sell, right? Those are kind of the Etsy alternatives that I know of. I'm sure there's other sites, but they're just not going to have that reach that Etsy has, right? It's like a built-in ecosystem of buyers. So that's probably the most significant pro to Etsy is just the built-in audience, because people are going there every day. Thousands and thousands of people are going on Etsy every day to buy and hopefully looking specifically for handmade items, right? So after you kind of pick out maybe a few sites that you might think about listing on, I would suggest sitting down and writing out a pros and cons list. This is something that I do for pretty much any decision that I need to make. It just really helps me to sit down with a pen and paper and write out the pros of Etsy, the cons of Etsy, the pros of GoImagine, the cons of GoImagine, and just kind of think about what is important to you and what your goals are. If you're wanting to sell a lot, Etsy might be a better choice for you. If you would prefer to avoid all of the drama and weirdness of Etsy, maybe try GoImagine or try Maker Place with Michaels. There's other options. So those are kind of the Etsy alternatives. There is something else that you could do, and that is to have your own website. I think a lot of people are very intimidated by that. You don't want to build your own website. Getting traffic to your website is very hard. I've had a blog for a couple of years, and my traffic has picked up and it is doing pretty well, but it took a long time to do that. And it takes a long time for Google to recognize you as a legitimate site. I'm just being 100% honest with you. Going the website route, you can do it. It's good to do it. But if you are going to do a website, I strongly encourage you to also do social media along with it. Because how else are you planning on driving traffic to your site? If you're thinking that just Google will serve your site up to thousands of people every month when you've just opened up your shop, that's just not reality. That's not going to happen, unfortunately. That's not how it works. If you want to drive traffic to your site, you're going to have to do a little bit of social media marketing, which I know sounds scary and sounds like, oh no, social media marketing, I don't want to do that. I just want to sew and sell stuff. But if having your own website is important to you, the truth of the matter is social media is kind of the way to go. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Facebook's still big, okay? You can still make sales from Facebook. I know a lot of people are like, that's in the past, but it's not. It's still good to drive traffic to your website. All kinds of social media. There's now Threads, which is like Instagram's version of Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. So there's different social media platforms. There's probably going to be more social media platforms popping up. That's just kind of how social media works. A new one comes out every couple of years. There are different ways to attract an audience. And then if you're going to do the social media, you have to be consistent and you really need to be deliberate with what you're trying to do. You want to take really great pictures. Or if you're doing videos like reels or shorts, you want to do really good videos that really showcase your products, and make it easy for the customer to see your product and then have a way to get to that product. So have that linked. Make it super easy and seamless for them to get to point A to point B, because that is definitely key. For example, if you post a reel of a quilt or a knitted sweater that you want to sell, and then you say, click my link in bio to buy this sweater. And they think, okay, so then they go to your link in bio, they click that, then it brings them to a page and it's like, shop my website, shop my Etsy shop, whatever. And so they click that, and then they have to scroll through all of your items to find the item that they're looking for. I think they would be less likely to purchase than if you just linked directly to that sweater. So say click link in bio and then have the link to that specific sweater right there at the top of your link in bio, and just be really deliberate with your marketing for specific items if that's what you're wanting to do. If you're showcasing a whole bunch of sweaters or a whole bunch of quilts in a reel, then you could do, shop my quilts on my website or on my Etsy shop. And then you could have, it just bring to the regular shop, and then they can scroll through and look at what you have. But if you're wanting to sell a specific item, you got to link to that specific item. That's definitely something that I think a lot of people don't do, and I think a lot of people miss out on sales because of that. Because people are lazy. That's just the fact. And attention spans are just out the window these days, right? They're not going to want to sit on your website for 10 minutes trying to find the page that has the quilt or has the sweater or tote bag or whatever you're selling ready for them to click on. That is something very important. Now, along with my point about social media, when I was selling on Etsy, I didn't use social media at all. I just used Etsy, and I was getting consistent sales every month. So that's something else to consider. If you really do not want to do the whole social media thing, Etsy might be the way to go. You might just have to bite the bullet, as they say, accept that those listing fees, transaction fees are going to be there. Another thing I want to point out also is having your own website, you're still going to have transaction fees. And having your own website is not free. So if you were to do Shopify, that's a monthly fee. If you were to build your own website or have someone build a website for you, that's not free. You still have to pay for hosting and for your domain and all that stuff. So I think when a lot of people give advice like, oh, you need to have your own website, don't be on Etsy, have your own website, it's cheaper. Is it though? Is it cheaper? Because if people are paying with credit card, you have to pay those transaction fees. They take, if you're using PayPal or whatever, a payment platform you're using, you're still paying those transaction fees. And I will say, I do now have a Shopify account where I sell my quilt patterns, and that was a hassle to set up. I did get it set up, but it was a little stressful because it was like, I don't 100% know what I'm doing. But with Etsy, it's like seamless. They do everything for you. They set it all up. They take out taxes if they need to. They charge tax if they need to. Take out your transaction fees and your listing fees, and you just get to put stuff up and then it's done. So that's something really great about Etsy, and I still really like Etsy, okay? There are things that I don't like about it. I really don't like that they allow kind of garbage to be listed. I don't like that. But, it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately, and that's where we're at. And I'm really hoping, like I said earlier, that they start cracking down on those shops. But if they don't, we got to make our listings stand out, right? So a way that you can do that is by taking really great pictures. I am not good at taking pictures. That was something that I really struggled with, and I still do struggle with taking good pictures for products. But that's something that you could work on. Take a class on how to take good product pictures. I took a couple of classes on Skillshare. specifically on product photography. And that really helped because they teach you kind of about lighting and using props and things and close-ups, faraway pictures, perspectives, kind of setting the mood of the picture and stuff like that. So that's something that you could do. Maybe take a class online or look up YouTube videos on how to take product pictures, that sort of thing. There are so many ways that you could improve your listings on Etsy to get those sales, right? Obviously, you need to be using keywords in your descriptions and your titles, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. That's something that's really important because you want that SEO, the search engine optimization. You want everything to be searchable, so it actually shows up when someone searches something, right? There's all kinds of things that go into it, but I think photography really is key because if your picture isn't good, shoppers are not going to click on it to look at it, right? It's just like my YouTube videos. If the thumbnail is not good, if it's not, ooh, what's that about? No one's going to want to click on it, right? They're not even going to watch the video. I could have a great video, but if no one's going to click on it because the thumbnail's bad, then there we go. I don't get any views. So yeah, that's something to think about and consider when you are selling online, is the presentation of your item is very, very important. And something cool, Etsy now has introduced video into listings. So you can actually take a little video of the product, which I think is really cool, to really showcase the item. If you're, like we were talking about, a knitted sweater, have someone modeling the sweater and kind of do a 360 and show how cute it looks and maybe a cute outfit it would go well with and things like that. So the people can really visualize that item in their life, And you want the photos and videos to really be about the customer and to help them visualize having that item in their life. You don't want it to be about you. You want it to be about the customer and about the product. That's really important. So that was kind of my semi-brief overview of selling online and just things to think about. Hopefully it's getting the wheels turning and kind of helping you guys think about what's possible, where you could sell, and things to think about when you are going to be selling. Do you want to be involved in social media? Do you want to just do Etsy and that's it? There's all kinds of options. You could do a YouTube channel and use your YouTube channel to sell your items. How cool would that be? I've done that with quilt patterns and it's worked quite well. That's kind of my overview for this video. I have a really cool announcement now. If you are interested in selling online, online or at craft shows or in person in some way, I am planning on doing a Zoom call here, probably in about a month. I want to give everyone plenty of time to sign up for the Zoom call. And this Zoom call is going to be all about selling handmade items. So whether you're selling online, selling in person, doing custom work, or doing pre-made stuff that you're just going to sell. This is not specifically for quilters, though I know the most about quilters and quilting because that's what I do. But knitters, crocheters, jewelry makers, anybody that's selling something handmade that you're actually spending time making, I would love to invite you to come to this Zoom call. What I have done is I have created a wait list for you where you will give me your name and your email. And in a couple of weeks, when I figure out when I'm going to do the Zoom call, I will email you all of the information, let you know what to expect in the Zoom call. It is going to be a paid Zoom call, but it's not going to be expensive. I haven't decided on the price yet, but it is not going to be expensive at all. So included with the Zoom call, you will also get several printable PDFs. So I'm going to include an example price sheet, a template that you can use for your own pricing sheet if you would like, some different printables for information. So information on the different selling platforms and things like that. I think it's going to be really fun. The call will probably be around an hour and a half, I would guess. It's going to be, I'll do a small presentation at the beginning, and then I'm hoping for like the bulk of it to just be a question and answer time. So you guys will be able to come in with your questions, ask whatever you want to ask, and I will do my best to answer. If I have to look stuff up right there and then, we will do that. And I just want to be there to help you on this journey of selling things online and being successful at it, because I do believe it is possible, okay? If I can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. I had no business degree, no marketing degree. I had absolutely no experience in selling online. But through those 5 years and now past that, I have learned so much about marketing and selling online and just all of that stuff. And I would really like to be there to help you if I can. If you would like to sign up for the wait list, there is going to be a link down in the description box below. Like I said, you just need to give me your name and your email. You don't have to pay anything to get on the wait list. And then in a couple of weeks, I will send out that email with all of the information about it and a way for you to pay and save your seat, because I think there might be limited seating. I'm not 100% sure. I will let you know in that email in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really great time. And I will plan on, if you're not able to make the actual meeting, you will get a recording of it. So I'll record it and then send it out to anybody that missed it. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I really look forward to it. I look forward to connecting with you guys and really answer your questions about pricing. It'll be questions about anything. So if you have more questions about how to price your items, how to figure out how to price, do you want to price per hour, price per piece, price per the entire project? There's so many different ways that you can do it, and you just got to kind of figure out what works best for you. Please join the wait list if you would like. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be casual. It's not going to be one of these weird webinars where it's like super fast paced, yada, 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 yada. Oh, by the way, sign up for my $1,000 course at the end. I will not be doing that. So I'm not planning on having any course being pitched at the end. This is just going to be some friends hanging out, talking about selling online, and me hopefully info dumping all of my random knowledge on you, right? So hopefully you can come to that. And also, I want to announce to my other quilters, I'll be doing another live here next Friday. So July 12th at 6 p.m. we are going to do another live. And we're going to pick up where we left off on the gingham square dance quilt. I'm hoping to get a bunch of that done during that live, because I want to get that quilt done. Because I really want to try that pounce pad and stencil. So to do that, we got to finish that quilt top, and I want to finish it with you guys. So we'll be working on that July 12th. 6 p.m. Central Time. Come if you can. If you can't, there's always the replay if you want to watch that afterwards. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments below. I'm trying to answer all the comments that I can. Comments are really starting to pour in now though. So if anybody asks a really good question that I think will be good for the Zoom call, I might save it for that Zoom call if that's okay. So if you want to send in your questions, you can. I'll let you know in the comment, like, ooh, this is a really good question. We're going to answer this in the Zoom call. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and have a great weekend, guys. All right? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.